All right, welcome back. So, last time we looked at how ancient people created characters by just drawing what they could see. But that kind of opens up a huge question, right? How in the world do you draw something you can't see? Well, that's exactly the puzzle we're going to piece together today.
I mean, seriously, think about it. You can sketch a tree, no problem, a mountain, sure, but how would you draw the idea of up or below? Tackling this challenge led to an absolutely brilliant way of thinking about writing.
Drawing physical objects, what we call pictographs, that only gets you so far. The second you try to deal with abstract stuff like directions, locations, or even numbers, a simple picture just doesn't cut it anymore. You got to get more clever. And the solution they came up with? It was genius. They realized, hey, instead of trying to draw the idea itself, what if we just point to it? They basically invented a kind of visual signpost to guide your mind straight to the concept. This method has a name, of course. It's called jishi, which pretty much means to point at a matter. It's a design principle where you use simple symbols to indicate an abstract idea. So think of it less like a photograph and more like a really elegant, simple diagram. So let's see this thing in action. And the absolute best place to start is with the characters for up and down. This is where you can really see the simple genius of this whole pointing method come alive. Okay, so to make the character for up or sheng, you first draw a long horizontal line. Just imagine it's a baseline, kind of like the horizon. Then you simply put a smaller marker above it. That little mark is literally pointing to the space above the baseline. That's it. It's that simple.
And if you go way back and look at the earliest versions found on oracle bones, that's literally all it was, one long line with a short one right above it. It's so direct, so logical, a perfect little diagram for the idea of above. Now, over thousands of years, a vertical stroke was added, mostly to make it easier to write with a brush. And that's how we got the modern character, sheng. But even now, you can still totally see that original logic, the baseline and the little marker pointing up. It's still there. Okay, so once you get the logic for up, the character for down, xia, is going to be a piece of cake. You start with the exact same baseline, but this time, where do you think the marker goes? Yep, you got it. You just put it below the line. It's pointing to the concept of down. And when you put them side by side, you really see how elegant this whole system is. They're perfect opposites, almost like twins. Just by moving one tiny little mark, you create two completely opposite meanings. I mean, how incredibly efficient and clever is that as a design? All right, you ready for puzzle number 2? This one's really cool, because we're going to see this pointing method get applied to a character you probably already know, a simple picture to create two brand new ideas. So our foundation this time is the character Mu. This is a pictograph of a tree. You can almost see it, right? The trunk, the branches reaching for the sky, the roots going down. We're going to use this simple picture as our new baseline. So here's the question for you. Using that same pointing logic we just talked about, how would you change this character to specifically point out the very top of the tree? The treetop. If you thought, hey, just add a marker to the top, then you nailed it. That's exactly right. You just draw a horizontal line across the top branches. This new marker points right to the treetop, and just like that, you've made a new character, Ma. So Ma originally meant treetop. Simple enough. But here's where it gets really interesting. Over time, that idea was stretched to mean the end or the tip of anything. And that's how we get the modern word for weekend, 周末, which literally means the end of the week. How cool is that connection? Now for the final piece of this little puzzle. If putting a marker at the top of the tree means end, what do you suppose happens if we put a marker at the bottom? You guessed it. By adding a little mark down by the roots, you create the character Ben. It points to the tree's roots, so its meaning becomes origin, foundation, or fundamental. That right there is the charm of these Jisha characters. So it's pretty clear that this pointing method isn't just a random trick. It's a core tool for understanding the whole language. It takes these ideas that could be really difficult and abstract and makes them visual, logical, and something you can actually figure out. And what that really means is that learning these characters isn't just about endless memorization. It's about learning to see the logic. It's about solving the little visual puzzle that each character presents. You're basically learning an ancient system of graphic design for ideas.
There's a line from our source material that just sums this up perfectly. It says that these characters are like silent guides. They use the simplest marks to point us toward a whole world of ideas that we can't physically see, but we can definitely understand. And that brings us to a final thought to chew on. Now that you get this basic design principle of pointing, what other abstract ideas could you try to draw? Like, what about middle? Or inside? Maybe even numbers? How would you do it with just a simple shape and a marker? It's a really fun puzzle to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.